Are you planning to travel to the US for pregnancy-related reasons? Or perhaps you've heard about the new visa rules for 2025, and you're wondering how they could impact you or your loved ones. Well, you're in the right place. As of July 2025, significant changes are set to reshape how pregnancy travel is handled by U.S. immigration authorities, especially when it comes to birthright citizenship. In the past, many individuals seeking to give birth on U.S. soil did so with the hope of securing U.S. citizenship for their child through birthright citizenship. However, recent shifts in U.S. visa policies are set to tighten the rules around this practice. The new regulations aim to address concerns about so-called birth tourism, where individuals travel to the U.S. primarily to give birth and secure citizenship for their child. So, what exactly is changing in 2025? First, U.S. visa applicants will face stricter scrutiny when applying for visas, particularly those applying under the B2 tourist visa category. Immigration authorities will be looking closely at the applicant's intent to ensure that pregnancy is not the primary reason for their travel. This means that pregnant women traveling to the U.S. might need to prove they are entering the country for other legitimate purposes, such as medical treatment or visiting family, and not solely for the purpose of giving birth. For seniors, understanding these changes is crucial, especially if you are planning to bring family members or grandchildren into the U.S. in the near future. It's important to stay informed about these evolving policies, as they could affect travel plans and family reunification. Want to know more about how these changes could impact you or your family? Make sure to hit that like button and stay tuned for all the details on what to expect in 2025. As we dive into the details of the new U.S. visa rules for pregnancy travel in 2025, it's crucial to first understand why these changes are being made and what they mean for individuals planning to travel to the United States in the near future. The concept of birthright citizenship in the U.S. has been a long-standing issue, with debates heating up in recent years about whether or not it should be allowed to continue. For those who are unfamiliar, birthright citizenship is the practice where any child born on U.S. soil automatically receives U.S. citizenship, regardless of the parent's nationality or immigration status. For decades, the U.S. has been one of the few countries in the world that offers this automatic citizenship right. However, as more individuals travel to the U.S. with the primary intention of giving birth to secure citizenship for their children, the U.S. government has begun to rethink its policies. This shift has led to the creation of stricter visa rules, especially regarding pregnancy travel, which is often referred to as birth tourism. Now, under the new 2025 rules, U.S. authorities will be paying closer attention to the motivations behind travel to the country. Historically, if you were pregnant and applied for a tourist visa, there wasn't much scrutiny as long as you had a legitimate reason for visiting the U.S., such as tourism or visiting family. However, the new rules are putting more emphasis on making sure that the primary reason for travel isn't just to give birth. For pregnant women traveling with the intent to give birth in the U.S., it will be essential to prove that the visit is for a valid reason other than just birthright citizenship. U.S. consular officers may ask additional questions about the traveler's intent, and in some cases, they may even ask for documentation showing that they have the financial means to cover the medical costs of pregnancy and delivery in the U.S. This is particularly important for seniors who might be planning to bring family members with them. If you have a daughter or daughter-in-law planning to give birth in the U.S., you may need to prepare additional documentation to prove that the trip is not solely for the purpose of securing U.S. citizenship for the child. This could include showing that the pregnant individual has sufficient medical insurance coverage or can afford to pay for their medical expenses out of pocket while in the U.S. The reality is that while these changes may seem a bit daunting, they also highlight a growing concern over the potential for abuse of the U.S. immigration system. Birth tourism has been viewed by some as a loophole that allows foreign nationals to gain access to U.S. citizenship for their children, without necessarily following the appropriate channels for immigration. As a result, the U.S. government has decided to clamp down on this practice to ensure that immigration laws are followed properly. It's also worth noting that these new visa restrictions will not apply to everyone. If you are planning to travel to the US for other reasons, such as visiting family, attending a medical appointment unrelated to childbirth, or for business, the rules won't be as strict. The key issue here is making sure that the intent to give birth in the US is not the primary reason for your visit. If that is your main intention, then you will likely face more scrutiny. Additionally, the new rules will impact the way medical professionals in the US handle patients who are coming from abroad to give birth. Many hospitals and healthcare providers in the US have seen an uptick in patients from countries like China, Russia, and Mexico who are seeking birthright citizenship for their children. With the new visa rules in place, these medical professionals may also be required to verify the patient's intent for travel before providing services. They may need to ask additional questions and request documentation that shows the patient is entering the US for legitimate reasons beyond just giving birth. For some families, this could mean changes to their travel plans. If you had planned to travel to the US with the goal of securing citizenship for a child through birthright, you might now have to explore other options or even reconsider your plans altogether. While the new rules will certainly make things more complicated, they also serve as a reminder that immigration laws are meant to be followed and that the US government is taking steps to ensure that birth tourism doesn't take advantage of the system. But let's not forget the human side of this issue. For many people, the idea of giving birth in the US is rooted in the hope of providing their child with access to better opportunities, a higher standard of living, and the benefits of being a US citizen. After all, US citizenship can provide advantages such as access to quality education, healthcare, and employment opportunities that might not be available in their home country. For many families, this decision is deeply personal, and the prospect of having a child born in the US opens doors to new possibilities for the family. While the new rules may make it more difficult for some to achieve this goal, they don't necessarily close the door completely. It's still possible to travel to the US with the intent to give birth, but the process will now require more preparation and documentation. For seniors, especially those who may be in charge of planning family trips, it will be essential to stay informed about the evolving regulations and ensure that all the necessary paperwork is in order. One of the key elements of these changes is that pregnant women who are planning to give birth in the US will now need to prove that they have the means to cover the costs of childbirth in the country. While US hospitals and healthcare providers are among the best in the world, they come at a steep price. Giving birth in the US can cost thousands of dollars, and it's no longer enough to simply state that you plan to visit for a short-term stay. If you're coming for birthright citizenship, you'll need to demonstrate that you can afford the costs up front. This means having health insurance coverage or having the financial means to pay for any medical expenses out of pocket. Another aspect of these changes is that pregnant women may also face more scrutiny when applying for visas if they are already in the later stages of pregnancy. While this rule might seem harsh, it's designed to prevent individuals from entering the US with the sole purpose of giving birth without proper documentation or insurance. Consular officers will be more vigilant in examining visa applications for pregnant travelers and will look for any signs that the individual's primary intent is to give birth in the US. For seniors who have family members planning to travel to the US for pregnancy-related reasons, it's important to provide support during the visa application process. This might involve helping them gather the necessary documentation or assisting them in understanding the new regulations so that they can meet the requirements. Remember, having the right information is key to navigating these new rules successfully. At the end of the day, the 2025 US visa rules for pregnancy travel are meant to create a more transparent and legitimate immigration process. While they may make things a bit more challenging for those seeking birthright citizenship, they also help ensure that the immigration system is used properly and fairly. As a senior, staying informed about these changes and understanding how they affect you and your family can make a huge difference in navigating the US immigration system effectively. So, if you found this video helpful and want to stay up to date on the latest developments in US visa policies, don't forget to hit that like button. Your support helps us bring you more valuable information like this, so be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might find it useful. Keep watching for more updates on travel, immigration, and everything you need to know to stay informed in 2025 and beyond.